There has been a significant event in Washington, but hardly nobody is discussing it. Within the 2,000 pages of a recently passed financial reform package, there is a clause that has the potential to permanently alter the U.S. banking sector as a whole. The rule that essentially compels all of America's big banks to implement a blockchain-based system for cross-border settlements is concealed in the fine print, in terminology that most people would ignore. Furthermore, my sources indicate that there is only one blockchain that meets the requirements: the XRP ledger of Ripple. This is legislation. It is neither gossip nor supposition. At first appearance, this law appears to be just another complicated piece of financial modernization legislation that is rarely discussed by the public. But the implications are astounding when you read the passage itself. The law establishes a requirement for real-time gross settlement systems that make use of interoperable distributed ledger technology in Section 4B on page 1247. The secret lies in that one statement. It indicates that Congress itself is directing the U.S. financial sector to modernize its infrastructure so that it can handle foreign payments immediately, around the clock, and independently of the old SWIFT network. The crazy part is that there is currently only one technology that satisfies all of those requirements. It is a system that can process millions of transactions per second, is compatible with the current banking infrastructure, complies with ISO 2022, is environmentally friendly, and has been tested in actual cross-border settlements. The XRP ledger is that system. This is a technical fact, not just my opinion. Nearly word for word, the US government just outlined Ripple's technology in its own legislation. Let's dissect that if it seems unreal to you. Interoperable systems for real-time settlement of transfers based on digital assets are mentioned in the document. No other blockchain currently in use possesses the demonstrated capability and regulatory certainty necessary to facilitate this at scale. Bitcoin moves too slowly. Ethereum is too costly. Stellar is too little. Only XRP is prepared to connect directly with significant financial institutions due to its infrastructure, partnerships, and compliance. For this reason, Ripple has been in private discussions with the IMF, the Federal Reserve, and central banks worldwide for many years. This was the culmination of all those meetings. Now consider the timeline. The legal ambiguity surrounding XRP's classification as a non-security was resolved when the Ripple vs. SEC case concluded. Coincidentally, this congressional bill advances within months. No way. It's all a part of the new banking system's well-planned deployment. One XRP is at the core of this blockchain-based system. The XRP ledger will serve as the foundation for the digital transformation of the U.S. currency. What does this signify for banks then? Every significant financial firm, including J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Citigroup, will have to prove blockchain interoperability for foreign settlements under this new regulation. As a result, they can no longer depend just on legacy or SWIFT systems. They need to implement a system that provides cross-border transactions that are quick, verifiable, and inexpensive. Furthermore, Ripple's ODL network, which is powered by XRP, is currently the only technology that can accomplish that on a large scale. To put it another way, this is required. Banks are being instructed to use blockchain technology, not requested to do so. It's a requirement for compliance. This implies that hype will no longer drive demand for XRP. It will result from a legal requirement. Imagine if the entire banking industry in the US were abruptly compelled to purchase XRP in order to conduct liquidity operations. With a fixed supply of 100 billion coins, that amounts to the transfer of trillions of dollars in capital into a digital asset, the majority of which are already in institutional custody or locked up. The outcome? A supply shock caused by the government that has never been seen before. Now let's discuss what comes next. Every significant bank will have to create liquidity pools on the XRP ledger as soon as this law goes into force. It entails purchasing and keeping XRP. To operate, not to speculate. XRP will be needed as the bridge asset for all cross-border remittances, foreign transfers, and treasury settlements that go through these new platforms. The quantity of XRP needed for liquidity will increase exponentially over time as volumes scale. The amount of XRP required to settle value increases with system usage. Recall that XRP has a deflationary effect. With each transaction, a tiny quantity is consumed, permanently lowering the overall supply. The ramifications for the market are astounding. It is technically impossible for the global banking system to onboard to XRP at the current liquidity levels without causing a price revaluation. According to even cautious projections, the price of XRP might rise to $500 per coin very immediately. If US banks invested just 1% of their cross-border assets in the cryptocurrency, that is arithmetic, not conjecture. That amount of institutional demand simply cannot be met by the supply, so the price must increase to bring the market back into equilibrium. The media won't tell you this, though. They are deliberately keeping this quiet. Wall Street is aware of the impending events. The number of insiders is already growing. The true shift is taking place covertly through backroom deals, pilot projects, and collaborations in classified technology, even as the public debates crypto rules. The wording of the measure was intentionally ambiguous so that only people with knowledge would understand its true meaning. In the meantime, everyday price fluctuations and influencer noise continue to divert retail investors. This is the same playbook that we have repeatedly witnessed. The tech elite was aware of the next trillion-dollar potential before the internet boom. The large banks had already begun to amass assets prior to the housing boom. Now, in the era of digital wealth transfer, it is XRP's turn. As the rest of the world sleeps, the privileged are quietly arranging themselves. What will happen then when this is made public? Every new buyer must contend with the same math of fixed supply and soaring demand, and parabolic moves are born the moment mainstream media realizes and starts reporting that Congress has effectively legalized and mandated blockchain settlement for banks. Retail investors rush in. Institutions that were previously on the sidelines scramble to comply, and the floodgates open. Let's be clear, though. This is financial reality, not financial advice. The timing, the documentation, and the figures all match exactly. In addition to passing a modernization measure, Congress also paved the way for the biggest asset transfer in financial history. And whether they know it or not, they have just established XRP as the benchmark that will connect the new digital economy with the traditional world of fiat finance. Let's examine the pattern in more detail. Ripple has partnerships with central banks in the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. In the meantime, U.S. authorities are subtly elaborating on the distinction between securities and digital assets. Next up is the IMF, which has been publicly talking about these universal settlement layers for digital currencies. All of the puzzle pieces you see are pointing in the same direction. The last piece of evidence that connects policy and adoption is this statute. The day Congress approved XRP as the foundation of the global financial system, possibly without realizing it, will go down in history as the pivotal moment. What the headlines say won't really matter, you know. The rails are in place, the technology is already integrated, and the liquidity paths are being tested. When the switch turns, the previous system will no longer seem the same. This is your early warning. The institutions are getting ready, the insiders already know, and the liquidity is being silently removed from exchanges while everyone else is ignoring it. It will be too late to accumulate at these levels when the public eventually realizes that banks must legally integrate blockchain settlement systems, and that XRP is the only cryptocurrency that is ready for prime time. Congress has ignited the fire, and the explosion will reverberate across the world of finance. The message is clear. Banks must comply, XRP is the system, and the future of money is being rewritten in real time. The era of speculation is over, and the era of mandatory adoption has begun. The door is closing. Don't be the one who discovers too late that the largest financial reset in history was lurking in plain sight. See Section 4B on page 1247. This isn't a prediction. Rather, it's the inevitable result of the laws that have already been enacted. Disclaimer. Please keep in mind that I do not hold a financial advisor license. These videos only contain content that is meant to be entertaining. Before making any financial decisions, I always advise viewers to do their own research and speak with experts. Many thanks for listening. Please remember to hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. To be the first to know, be sure to enable the notifications as well. I can't